Well, good evening and welcome to Emmanuel Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Lynn Price. I'm a pastor here at Emmanuel, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 23rd Annual Thanksgiving Community Celebrations sponsored by the Stanislaus County Interfaith Council. Emmanuel is a congregation of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. If you want more information on that, you can go to elca.org. Interfaith dialogue and cooperation is a vital component in the life of the ELCA and in the ministry of this congregation. In 2020, Emmanuel will celebrate 85 years of ministry in this corner, and we look forward to what the future holds for this ministry as well as for our community. We live in a wonderfully diverse community celebrating here tonight. Restrooms are in the back and to your left, and so make yourselves comfortable, enjoy the evening, and please stay for refreshments following the program.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you to all the members of this church for allowing us to have our celebration here this year. Well, I want to thank Kim Cornelius for the music. It's been kind of a tradition to have gathering music by Kim and the LDS folks, the choir, over the years. And I want to thank Kim again for providing just a moving testimony, especially in the last song, to some of the things that we're most thankful for. That's mothers. But it is, by the way, I'm Mark, and I'm back too, not by popular demand as the LDS choir is, but probably lack of volunteers to take over this slot. But I am honored. It is such an honor to be a part of this celebration every year for over 20 years. It is a rare opportunity that we have to sit under one roof with so many different diverse faith communities and cultures here. It's just something that you don't find very often in our community, and the council wants to provide more of these opportunities. You were applauding the fact that here we are today, this diversity. And not only is it rare, but it is part of who we are. And I want you to look around, I want you to stay with us afterwards and see that this is the community that we want to be. This is the country we want to be. I want to invite up now the, what we call the choir from Congregation Beth Shalom. And Barbara, where's Barbara? If you'll read us some words from the rabbi who couldn't be here tonight, we look forward to having him next year. And Barbara's going to say a few words from the rabbi, and then we're going to do some more music for you.
Unfortunately, the rabbi could not be here this evening, and he asked me to read the following. The most repeated line in the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, which is the first part of the Hebrew Bible, is don't mistreat the foreigner, the stranger, for you were once foreigners and strangers in the land of Egypt. 36 times we were instructed that an essential part of the Jewish spiritual path is to show compassion to those in need, and that empathy towards the most vulnerable must be our permanent legacy from enduring and being saved from slavery. The Torah tells the story of how Abraham once even interrupted a vision of the divine to offer hospitality to 3 strangers who were passing by his tent. Later, Abraham discovers that these strangers were angels, divine messengers. Perhaps we should learn from this that we should treat everyone as if they could be angels. We should view all people, especially the stranger, the foreigner, the vulnerable ones, as if they are divine messengers. We are all made in the image of the Creator. All of humanity are children of God. The Beth Shalom Choir will now sing The Angel's Blessing by Debbie Friedman.
You may know that we have a second theme tonight, not just thankfulness, but it's about welcoming the stranger, recognizing not only the diversity that is here, but where we've all come from, and how important that is to our identity and our strength as a country. And I just want to say something about this next song, The Angel's Blessing. And by the way, this is why you probably need to replace me as MC, because I'm often sort of off track here. I want to say something about angels, because angels are in almost every religious tradition. And whether you take angels literally or not, it's a powerful symbol of the divine presence in our lives and how personally we can experience that. So we're going to talk about angels, and I invite you, as I try to do the first verse in Hebrew, to listen for the names of the angels. You're probably familiar with them. If I can find my pip, we'll get it. I do that. Okay. This is called Angel's Blessing. Michael, umismoli Gabriel, umilfana, Uriel, umiacharai, Raphael. Pauline is a fairly new board member with us, representing the Cambodian Buddhist community in this town. The community is building just a gorgeous, beautiful new temple on their grounds in southwest Modesto off of Grimes Avenue. And she's here to talk about kindness, which is a quality of Buddhism that, please. We have other guests, the monk, Ma, and Ree, who is our alternate board member, all from the Cambodian Buddhist community. Thank you so much.
Hello, good evening. So I'm going to be doing a piece from Sharon Salzberg, and I'd just like to acknowledge Lori, my meditation teacher. She's in the audience, I didn't know. So you'll have to teach me afterward if I made any mistake. Okay, so I'm going to be reading what Sharon Salzberg, she is an American Buddhist. I don't know if she's considered a Buddhist, but in the 70s she went to India and studied meditations, and she wrote many books, and one of the CD that captured my heart is called A Cup of Kindness, and she says, happiness is not a limited commodity. It is not as if we share it and we have less of it. In fact, if we share it, we'll have more of it. And so we don't have to get along with everybody. We don't, sometimes we may not get along, we may not like anybody, but we do want to wish everybody kindness, health, safety, and of course, live in harmony with each other. So the four things I'd like to offer is what she had said in her CD is that, may I be safe. May you too be safe. May I be healthy. May you too be healthy. May I live with ease. May you too live with ease. May I be happy. May you be happy. We exist in this plane together. We're in this together. So we have to help each other to live in peace and harmony. And when we say a homeless person, today it might be them, tomorrow it might be us. So do unto other what one done to us. So I just want the monk to chant the prayer of compassion and peace.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm from Cambodia. I want to say 5 words to tell you all how to stay in the United States. The freedom. That the first time I want to say, don't kill no people, don't steal nothing. There's something they give to you, you can take it. Don't rape other people. Don't steal like a boyfriend or girlfriend, someone, somebody. Like, you stay in the market, they say, like, drink and drive. They are almost the same as some like that. So I want to chanting a little bit for my Buddha language. The Panatipada, Lukhino Anima. And the Nitya, where I'm in this Kavatan Samadhi Yevi. There's something they don't give to you by your hand, you cannot take it. Kame, Sumechajara, where I'm in this Kavatan Samadhi Yevi. Don't steal someone, like a girlfriend or wife, something. Musa, where I'm in this Kavatan Samadhi Yevi. Don't lie to people. Well, like they tell you, oh, today take me good at work. Oh, I'm busy, some of that you lie to people, they cannot do that. Like they say, like, When you try hard, don't drink and try. But sometimes you try, you miss a job, sometimes like your hangovers in the morning, sometimes you miss a job too. That's all I say. Thank you. So I was chanting like that. Okay. สัพพิติยาวิวาจันตุสัพพะโรโควินาศตุมิเตภวันตวันตรายาสตัยติทิยยุตาภเวอภิเวตนะไสเลสนัยจังโมทิยวิจายนาจัตตารธรรมยวัฏันเตอายุวันนาสุขังเปเร
So, at this cup, I have this cup of kindness. I didn't know there was this many people, so I made about like 54. So in here there's, may I be happy, may you be happy, may I be at ease, may you be at ease, may I be healthy, may you be healthy, may I be happy, may you be happy. So please take one and remember to stay. Thank you.
Your own kindness cup. I hope you'll take one. It's kind of like passing out the elements. And by the way, what's wonderful about this event is that we have another opportunity to hear through the words, through the different sounds, through the different expressions, the same sentiments behind them all, of peace and love and thankfulness to a Creator, to a Divine Spirit, to the source of all the abundance that we enjoy and celebrate at this Thanksgiving. I'd like to invite up the Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Choir at this time.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Fletcher, and this is the Our Lady of Fatima Parish Choir. This evening, we're going to be singing a piece called Be Still.
In addition to the Catholics, I want to say that the Sikh community has always been forthright in interfaith dialogue, the Sikh community. And Rupika is here tonight to talk a little bit about not only the fact that Sikhs enjoy the dialogue, but that world religions are part of their tradition, built into the very foundation of their scriptures. Rupika.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This is our way of saying hello and welcoming and greeting you all. A little meaning behind what this means is that purity belongs to God, and God is the creator. Purity becomes victory, and that victory that God has given us belongs to God as well. So we're here, of course, to talk about openness, welcoming, and also thanking and giving back. One thing that I wanted to share about Sikh and our Sikh religion is the Golden Temple. I'm not sure if you've heard about our temple in India, in a state called Punjab and in the city which is called Amritsar. So when this temple was built, it was built with 4 walls and 4 entrances. The entrances that were built within the Golden Temple was a huge symbol for acceptance. So accepting different cultures, races, religions, and different people across this entire world. And this symbol means a lot to everyone in this world because we are all one. There's no duality and everyone's equal. So Guru Nanak, which was one of our prophets, he was our first guru, and he preached and practiced oneness. There's no duality. I am you and you are me. So this Golden Temple is a great symbol of oneness and how all of us are one. A little backstory on Guru Nanak as well. Guru Nanak, he was our first gurus, and Guru Nanak's father actually gave him money to go start a business. He was like, here's this money, go start a business and go be successful. So what Guru Nanak did was he took that money and he started something which was called langar in our language. And langar means free food for all. So he started a kitchen, back in the days, I don't know if there was kitchens, but he started cooking and he started serving food to every religion, race, and any type of people. 550 years later, langar is still served all across the world in various different Sikh temples. So this is something that Sikhs try to practice each and every day. If you walk into a Sikh temple today, you will be served langar 24/7. And just looking at this and what we should all be practicing and what every religion practices is oneness and also giving back. What God wants us to do is everything that God gives us is God's. So whatever we can give back, we should try to give back as much as we can. Wanted to end off with some wordings from our gurus, which was a quote that I really liked is, "All human beings are the reflection of one and the same Lord. Recognize the entire human race as one." So we accept everyone, and everyone is equal, and we're all one. Thank you.
Right now, we're going to move along to another tradition of ours at this celebration, and that is to collect an offering to benefit Interfaith Ministries. We've been doing it for now 23 years. Every year, the focus is on helping out the needy at this time, expressing our thanks by giving of our wealth, as every religion teaches, to those who are needy. And this time of the year is especially important to support Interfaith Ministries and its food bank and its close closing. A tradition that we do is to sing while we have an offering procession, and in a few minutes we'll have the ushers sort of guide you up one pew at a time to leave your donations, whether you have food still that you haven't put in the barrel. If you can make a financial donation, the most generous that you can, please come up as the ushers ask you to come up and put your donations in one of the baskets up in front here. We've sung before a number of things during our procession. It's been a tune with words written by Dan and Nathan to the melody of Amazing Grace. We have done the peace song that most everybody knows. And last year we introduced a new song that's in your programs to the tune you recognize it when you hear it, from Finlandia by Sibelius.
You'll find your words on page 5, and Linda Buzzell at the piano will give us an intro and we'll sing.
If the success is true, we move on and we never see you again. And sometimes that just feels really overwhelming. But the idea of entertaining angels unaware, as Mark spoke about, and as I believe is in Hebrews, but a lot of people here can correct me if I'm wrong, is something that's been so meaningful to me in this job. And it's so wonderful to be reminded that each individual we serve is part of a group. But when we look in their eyes and see the divine, when we look in their eyes and see that this life might be changed, all the lives might not be changed, but this life might be changed, that every one of those lives matters, and that every one of those families that does better or doesn't do better, even that one meal, that one day that we were able to give hope and give love and give food and sustenance and emergency care, matter. Because who knows who we were entertaining, and it doesn't have to be angels, because we are all a part of the divine. And that I'm in front of this group that reminds me of the same thing. That every person in this room is here because of their interest in strangers, and their interest in welcoming those who are different than us or very much the same. That is interested in helping and giving back to those who don't have the same privileges that we have. And it gives me hope in a very hopeless place. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the Board of Directors of Interfaith Ministries for your giving, loving hearts, for what you do every day in this community, and for what you've done tonight. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone who supports Interfaith Interfaith Ministries and the absolutely irreplaceable work that they do. If some of the words she said inspire you to drop another bill up front, then feel free after this celebration. I want to introduce Michael Baldwin, who is a recent addition to our board, an at-large member, along with Sherry McIntyre, who teaches the World Religions course at Johansson High. I don't know how many of you know that Modesto is unique among the school districts in the country. Unique that they have a required World Religions course, something I think we can all be proud of. Michael brings with him a friend, Tasha, and Michael also brings an inspiring story of his own, which I hope you'll learn about over the next few years at events like this. He's going to talk about the fact that although we welcome migrants and wayfarers and people into our country with open arms, one of the groups that might as well be from another country, and I might say a word or two about this, are people who have been in prison and their reintroduction to society as if they've come from a strange land or to a strange land from where they've been. And then Tasha is going to sing to us through a brand new anthem that Mike Epting bought. And I hope you introduce Tasha. So, yes.
I want to thank you all for coming out and allowing me to participate in this interfaith event. I appreciate Mark and the rest of the Interfaith Council for allowing me to be amongst them. I just finished doing 26 years in prison for choices that I made in my youth. It allowed me to reintegrate into my community, to bring something positive from my experience. And so I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be here. I hope to spend my first Thanksgiving with my family in Chicago in 2 days. It'll be my first time seeing them in 27 years. And so for me, I'm just blessed to be amongst you. And I'm grateful that Tasha Wilson is coming to share her voice with us. And so with that, I'll begin. I've been traveling through the wilderness of life, learning to live through the toil and strife, surviving life within prison cages where everyone rages. But I found freedom when I realized that I needed it.
Just to play the game. Some people feel that material things define what's within. I've been there before, that life's so full of the superficial.
Matthew Mason is here to do a reading with a very curious title, and Matthew has assiduously declined to tell me what it's about, but I think we're going to find out this week.
I offer a poem by Unitarian Universalist minister and poet Nancy Schaefer, who was born and raised here in Modesto. It's entitled, Because We Spill Not Only Milk, and it articulates how Unitarian Universalism, a tradition that emerged out of liberal Protestant Christianity, believes we humans should love each other and this world so very deeply, and that we commit ourselves to hard but saving work of justice and reconciliation. Because we spill not only milk, knocking it over with an elbow when we reach to wipe a small face, but also spill seed on soil we thought was fertile but isn't, and also spill whole lives and only later see in fading light how much is gone and we hadn't intended it. Because we tear not only cloth, thinking to find a true edge, instead making only a hole, but also tear friendships when we grow and whole mountainsides because we are so many, and we want to live right where black oaks lived once very quietly and still. Because we forget not only what we are doing in the kitchen and have to go back to the room we were in before, remember why it was that we left, but also forget entire lexicons of joy and how we lost ourselves for hours, yet all that time were clearly found and held, and also forget the hungry not at our table. Because we weep not only at jade plants caught in freeze and precious papers left in rain, but also at legs that no longer walk or never did, although from the outside they look like most others, and also weep at words said once as though they might be rearranged, but which, once loose, refuse to return, and we are helpless. Because we are imperfect and love so deeply, we will never have enough days. We need the gift of starting over, beginning again. Just this constant good, this saving hope.
We're learning here in events like these that our faith traditions are a kind of poetry, that when we study, we get it. And we get the fact that the meanings behind all of our words and rituals is much the same after all. Thank you, Matthew, for showing us that. Dale Peterson is a professor at Southeastern University, which has a school on the campus of the House here in Modesto. Dale is a board member, Dr. Dale is a board member on our council and brings with him a committed evangelical perspective that we would be less for not having on our board, and all of us would be less for not listening to. And we have with us tonight, India Oz. She told me to pronounce it like the Wizard of Oz, who is a student of Dale's and who will bring her music with us tonight. Share. Thank you.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul. His holy name. God, I worship your holy name. God, I worship your holy name.
Beautiful voices, all. And we're going to have a chance to raise our own voices again in a few minutes, but I want to invite up Allah Speaking of pronouncing names, I had to work on that, and I think I got it wrong still. It's easy to mix up the name with the name of God, and many of you may not know that Allah, God, the God, is actually used by Christians as well as Muslims. It's an Arabic name, same thing, it is God. Allah has been with us before, and our Imam, also a member of the council, has invited her back because she is the face of the people that comprise our secondary theme tonight. She incarnates, if you will, the very kind of person that our country should be embracing. She is an example of diversity that has come to this country, some for joyful reasons and some not so much, and who have made us what we are and continue, hopefully, despite some of the policies now in effect, will create and recreate us again and again through the next century. So, please.
One of the foremost duties in Islam is to be grateful to God for all His blessings. We can describe 3 levels of thankfulness: to realize and appreciate all blessings by and within the heart, to say thanks with the tongue, and to express gratitude by doing righteous deeds. In other words, the first level is the appreciativeness and gratefulness that we feel in our hearts. Then we fortify that thankfulness through our speech. And the third level is when we prove by our deeds that we are truly thankful to God. As we open the Quran, the first chapter starts with Alhamdulillah, which is generally translated as all the praise is for God. The word Alhamdulillah signifies gratitude in our everyday lives. When someone asks how we are, Muslims often respond with Alhamdulillah, which is all the praise is for God. Islam teaches us to be thankful throughout the day for waking up from sleep, after eating our meals, drinking water, etc. In this way, one's entire life revolves around the gratitude to God. In chapter 55 of the Quran, titled The Lord of Mercy, God asks the same question 31 times, which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? God has created us and then made this world for us. We are getting benefits from all of His creations, such as the sun, moon, clouds, rain, air, grasslands, animals, plants, rivers, oceans, and countless other bounties of the natural world. After realizing all this abundance, how can a sensible person be anything but thankful to God? God reminds us, the seven heavens and the earth and all who dwell in them give glory to him. There is not a single thing that is not chanting his praise. Yet you cannot understand your grace. He is ever forbearing, forgiving. Prophet Abraham describes God's blessings in the most beautiful way. Who created me, and he guides me, and it's he who feeds me and gives me drink. And when I'm ill, it's he who cures me, and who will cause me to die and then bring me to life, and who I hope will forgive me my faults on the day of judgment. I'm thankful for dwelling in peace and safety after the difficult times I've been through in Syria, where I and my family encountered so many harsh situations, such as explosions, shooting, aircraft whistling all around us. I'm thankful for shelter, education, family here in the United States, because I was not able to go to school in Syria due to the evil war that destroyed our home and took away some people we love from us. I'm thankful for the diversity, for people to hear my voice and story. Thank you.
We're now going to hear from the combined celebration chorus from two of our most supportive church friends over the years, the United College Avenue United Church of Christ and the Modesto Church of the Brethren, longtime supporters of the Interfaith Council. And if I may say, they have provided many of our board members through the years and many of our officers, from past presidents of the board to our newly retiring secretary, Luella Cole. Thank you for your service.
Our musical offering this evening is entitled, as you'll see in your program, The Time for Turning, and you'll find the words at the bottom of page 6. The text is based loosely on Ecclesiastes chapter 3, where everything under heaven there's a time to plant, time to sow and reap. The melody is a traditional British tune called Sally Gardens.
Before
do want to point out our past president, Michael Schiffelbein, pastor at College Avenue, UCC. Stephen Reddy? Stephen, I was remiss in not listing our compost. Linda Bussell. Thank you, Linda, for your work. One of our traditions in closing our celebration has been to recite what we call the Interfaith Benediction. We're not going to do that this year. Instead, we on the council have come up with culled together some of the passages from most of our sacred texts, and all of them share the sentiment of treating strangers with kindness and welcoming foreigners and migrants into our midst and treating them as if they were one of us, something that we need to practice and are actually commanded to practice in our religious traditions. So if you'll turn to page 5, we have what is called the I Was a Stranger litany. And what we're going to do is, as you'll see, there are passages that start with an L. That's you on the left. Let's see. And passages that start with an R for right. Left and right have no political connotations. But I want to start with those on the left, and I want you to think of the lines as you say them. And you'll find the references, the credits, the notes on the left for the passages that they came from. We didn't have room enough to list all of them that come from the Bible, the Holy Quran, the Granth Sahib from the Sikh tradition, Buddhist tradition. There are phrases in text from all of the world's religions that speak to this issue. And I want to focus on this as our last thought here tonight. So if you would, on the left, start with me on the closing litany. When a foreigner